everybody, and welcome to the first annual virtual Marjorie's Fund Gala and Auction. But I selfishly hope it's the last virtual one. But you know, this is what we have to do in these times, because even though we're all in a different place and we can't get together like we usually do, the need is still there. And so I want us all to think about giving and giving generously this evening. Usually at this time, we're in a place in Lower Manhattan, nibbling on some cheese and crackers and charcuterie, and meeting lots of interesting people, hearing some music and having fun. This year, we're going to have fun right here tonight, doing it this way. Now, I want to remind you that the auction will be open until September 21st. And if you're wondering, how can I actually bid and make money, bid on auction items, and how can I give money? It's right there on the bottom of the screen right now. You can text the word Marjorie's to the number 56651, and you can see it's all there. Marjories.cbo.io. Marjories.cbo.io. And that way you can donate and give money. And I want to tell you that it's not a lot that we're looking for, because, believe it or not, globally, you can help people who can't afford to buy insulin, can't afford the insulin, and can't afford the syringes that keep them alive. $20 a month will give them enough insulin and enough syringe to last for that month. 20 bucks. I mean, think of all the money we're saving right now without taking Ubers. We wouldn't be taking an Uber tonight to this event. That's how much it would probably cost. So there's a wonderful opportunity to really do some good and to really help in this global initiative, and I certainly hope that you will help. Later on, I'm going to introduce you to our honorees, actor Victor Garber, who, by the way, does suffer from diabetes 1, and I love him. And then the artist, Musubaho Penina, who is from Uganda, and she's an amazing person. I'm going to show you what she's got to tell us all about in her story in just a little bit. But to talk about why we are all here and to give you some real insights, let's take a look at this very short video all about Marjorie's Fund.
We don't really know why type 1 diabetes is on the rise worldwide, but it is. When you go to those parts of the world and you say, I want to see what's happening with type 1 diabetes, they take you immediately to the pediatrics ward, because those kids and young adults usually don't survive. Or they're going to have terrible complications, kidney failure, blindness. And these things are preventable, and it's as simple as that. By the time I met her when she was 27 years old, it was already at the stage in which she was going to need dialysis. The seeds of Marjorie's Fund were planted at that point, watching her die and realizing we wanted to prevent other people from following in her footsteps. She and so many others didn't have strips in order to prevent those types of complications.
Marjorie's Fund targets adolescents and adults, which is different from many diabetes organizations. What Marjorie's Fund wants to do is ensure that they're thriving, they're living full, enriched, empowered lives where they are self-sufficient and they're taking care of themselves and they're educated about managing their diabetes.
We currently work in Rwanda, Uganda, the Gambia, India, and also in New York City, our own backyard. What we are trying to do is to dialogue with government officials, local healthcare providers, patient advocacy groups on the ground, and other like-minded NGOs.
In India, we work with the Christian Medical College in Vellore. We provide support for the type 1 patients. So we provide strips, and then we also follow up with support for social networks. Marjorie's Fund provides support for students to come and live in the Rwanda Diabetes Education Center and learn self-management for blood glucose, growing diabetes-friendly foods.
They will have learned a vocational trade, which they can then take back to their village and earn enough money to buy their insulin and test strips locally. Everybody, when they graduate, is given an opportunity to get seed funding for a small business. Jean-Paul was from the Congo. His family knew that he would simply die. They pinned a note to his shirt that said, "I have diabetes," and left him at the border. So when I met Jean-Paul, he had gotten his graduation present of shears and clippers and was enjoying a life as his village's best barber. We want people to not just survive, but to really be given the tools to thrive.
If one person can feel happy by something that we do, it's just rewarding. To prevent the deaths, it really takes just education, strips, monitoring, and reinforcement.
We need your help in order to reach more people. I think she would be very proud. I think that she would be very happy. And I think that she would also say, you need to do more.
That was so beautiful. Doesn't that just touch your heart? And now let's meet in real virtual life, Dr. Jason Baker and Sandy Narahan. Hey guys, how are you tonight?
Jane, we're good. How are you? It's good to see you again.
Thank you. I'm happy to be here. I mean, I wish we were in real life. I wish we were in person, having a glass of wine together right now and enjoying meeting everybody that turns out to support us. But this is as good as it's going to be, and I am enjoying the heck out of it. That video was remarkable. So tell us, you guys, the latest. What's really going on out there, and how's everybody being affected today? Sandy?
I think Sandy's muted.
Well, that's one of the
being live. So there you go. So just wanted to say, Jane, our mission remains the same. We, the mission of Marjorie's Fund is still to empower type 1 diabetes adults living in poverty to not only survive, but to effectively manage their diabetes and to thrive. And in normal times, our mission is threefold. We provide healthcare access by running clinics and ensuring that people have access to insulin and strips, which are so critical and life-saving for people with type 1 diabetes. We provide education. We don't want to just give people fish. We try to teach them to fish. So, we provide education not only to the patients, but to the healthcare providers and to their support systems. And last but not the least, we want to ensure that their access to supplies and all this education lasts for their lifetime, because unfortunately right now, type 1 diabetes is not going away. And so we provide for economic empowerment, whether it's community projects like having a land where they can grow cash crops, or they can do tailoring. We ensure that they get trained to make some great backpacks, which are actually part of our silent auction. And I know you'll talk about that, Jane, as well as we have a hands project where people make bracelets, and Penina, who we will introduce to you in a minute here, makes these great statues and is able to make some money to go forward. Well, that's all in, normal circumstances, but 2020, nothing if not normal, right? So in 2020, our focus has been actually to ensure that our beneficiaries have access to food, because the largest impact, the greatest devastation that this pandemic has caused has really been in terms of food security. People have not had the ability to go to work, not been able to get to where they can get food. And so we've made sure that there has been outreach and that people have had emergency food. And our partners with Life for a Child through Direct Relief, etc., have also helped us. And so we've all coalesced and collaborated to ensure that our beneficiaries have access to food, because all the insulin in the world will not save them if they don't have food. And we thought that with the lockdown kind of coming to an end, we'll be able to get started again to provide healthcare access and be able to restart our programs in the clinic and the center where we're located in Kasese, and this is in Uganda, that we had the pictures that you're seeing, but we also provided food in Rwanda. And just as we thought that at least in Rwanda we'd be able to restart the clinic, we were hit by floods. The center, even a concrete structure like the center, was devastated and people couldn't get to it, right, Jason? We've been there many times, and in that muddy slush, there's no way anyone could get to the center. The back of the center has tenants who provide income for the maintenance of the center, and they had to be evacuated. So it was sort of a double whammy, triple whammy coming in all at once. And again, like they so often do, those people there with so little rise up. They keep getting pushed down and beaten up, and they keep rising. And all we need to do is just put a hand out, give them, just so that they can reach out and grab us and we can pull them up, because they're making the effort on their own, and all we need is to just give them a little nudge, and they're going to be doing so much better. So eventually we got the center taken care of and reopened the clinic in Kasese. And there people have started coming back for medical supplies, and we've started continuing that, and then brought people back to have their HbA1cs tested, and to get strips to see how they were doing with their blood glucose control, and maybe even get some more food. Of course, we have to still consider the pandemic, and so we definitely needed to make sure that they were safe. They had all the personal protective equipment that they needed, masks. And remember, folks, these are people who just cannot even afford that, a mask or something. So we made sure that when they came to the clinic, they could have that. And normally the clinic would run once a week on Thursdays, and 30 to 40 people would be in the clinic, and pretty much crammed together on those benches that you see. And of course, we want to make sure that that's not going to happen. So we actually run the clinic twice. As a nurse from Kagando who used to come out once a week, who now comes out twice a week. We have a second person coming in as well. And we've ensured that they have sanitation, they have the masks, they have everything. We're also supporting people in Rwanda for a program where we've supported, safe, secure PPE and other things that would help them to continue to get care, but in a secure environment. What our goal here, our mission is still the same. We still want people with diabetes to thrive, but we first need them to survive this crazy pandemic. Survive COVID and thrive with diabetes. That's our mission and our goal still.
And, Sandy, that was a great encapsulation of everything that we've been doing these past 6 months. And, this was the idea, right, for us kind of pushing this gala through for it to happen, because every little bit that's raised helps these people directly, right? And you and I both know that the costs of all of the programs, because of everything you just talked about, have gone up. So, we'll be talking about a little bit later the specific fundraising strategy for this gala, and it's around helping to safely reopen this clinic that Sandy has described. So we are fighting for them, but we're also learning from them, and it is our honor to continue to do this work. But thank you, Sandy, for presenting on this.
Welcome. And thank both of you, because that was really an amazing report. And I have to say, even though I know costs have gone up, still compared to so much else in the world, the costs are relatively simple. We're not asking for a lot. And I want to keep reminding people that, because you could do so much with just a few dollars. And I would love for people to understand how much they can help with that. So speaking of which, raising a few dollars, let me talk to you about some of the auction items that we've got right now, because there are so many, and they're, as usual, quite fabulous. Now, you can see a picture right now of a trip to Lake Como in Italy, and I know you're going, we can't go to Italy right now, but we will be able to sooner rather than later, I hope. And when we can go there, and they're guaranteeing this for a certain period of time, so check it out. I remember last year this thing went for a phenomenal price. The people had the most amazing time. So check that out. You can see those backpacks there that I think, Sandy, you talked about a couple of minutes ago. Those are the things that are actually made by type 1 diabetes patients in Rwanda. And then we've got, well, what more could you want than some champagne or wine? I know that has helped us all for the next few months, right?
Not me, not at all.
Yeah, no.
All right.
But, it allows you to have a little bit of fun. And there have been a lot of people that have had these virtual wine and champagne parties, which is great. And then if we can look at the statues that the beautiful Penina makes, look at these things. And every single one of them, they're really soulful. They're handmade wooden statues made in Uganda by Penina, who is, of course, one of our honorees tonight. And they all depict type 1 diabetes scenes. You can see injecting insulin, checking your blood sugar, etc. You're wondering, how am I going to bid on these items? Well, it's right here on the bottom of the screen, marjories.cbo.io. That's for the silent auction. And you can donate also by texting the word Marjories to this number, bottom of the screen again, 56651. And guess what? We've got a really cool auction item that I know we're going to get some high bidders on. Chris Cuomo, who has attended this event year after year after year, he's been such a great proponent and supporter, and he is offering a COVID-safe tour of his studio at CNN. So who doesn't want to go hang out with Chris Cuomo? I mean, seriously. Jason, I know you talked to him a little bit ago, so take it away.
Yeah, so we're going to play a brief video for you in which Chris describes what he's offering. And every dollar raised, I must add, to his chagrin in saying it earlier, and I'm holding you to it, Chris, he's going to match. So anything go Chris. So anything that we make on this particular experience, the good Chris Cuomo is going to match out of his own pocket.
I love
it.
We're
going to show you a brief video on him describing this item. Thank you so much for joining us at this gala. We sure wish this could be live in person, but we know you're a busy guy, and we really appreciate your time and are really, really excited to have you be part of this.
Well, first of all, you are doing the Lord's work on two fronts. This is an excellent cause. We have to help one another, especially for situations that we can help control, right? So many problems in our world that we have no control over. And secondly, you're my doctor. So when my doctor says to me, I want you to help me. What am I? No? How can that work out well for me? I already have to deal with the fact that you're so damn handsome. I can only take on so much risk. So I'm happy to be with you. I love the cause and I love you.
Well, listen, much love straight back to you, my friend. And so we are really psyched about what you're offering us at our silent auction this year. So tell us a little bit about it.
Well, look, I feel that several nude photos is only worth the cause. The photos will be of Jason, but I will take them. I'll have my face. So what I think that would be kind of cool, if it works, and obviously if it's COVID friendly. So we have a plan A and a plan B. If it's COVID friendly, I'd love to have you come to the show. It's not an audience show. Cuomo Primetime is obviously done live, and
right.
See what's happening in the control room, which I think is actually the coolest aspect of it, because
Absolutely.
not only do you get to see what's going on, but you see process. Okay. You are welcome to come in the hours before the show. Once again, why? Process. How do I/we, because it's a team, right?
Yeah.
Make the decisions, make the ordering, where my head is and why, what I'm writing and why. Then you get to watch the show in real time, and I would talk to you in all the breaks about what's going on and take photos or whatever you want. All right. So now let's go to plan B. Plan B is there's a pandemic. You don't want to come into the studio. I can't have you in the studio. Nobody likes anything about this. You would pay not to do it. Okay. Then what we'll do is we'll get together. If these doctors keep being right about what it means for me to have the antibodies, I am less at risk with these kinds of things for right now. So we'll figure out a socially distanced way, if it works for you, where we can meet somewhere and talk. I'll give you an hour of whatever you want to talk about for that purpose. If you want to meet somewhere, we can do it. It's all on me.
That's awesome.
Other than the fact that you're going to pay a very high price for it, because I'll tell you this, I have
Well,
people paying for my time all the time.
We're going to have a bidding war, my friend, and I think I may actually end up winning this. But so listen,
I pay for your time.
Well, this is an awesome offering and really a unique and one of a kind. I mean, where else are you going to get this? And I mean, you're so amazing to bring in somebody like this and to offer this for us. All the dollars raised around this are going to go straight back to our beneficiaries. And so, Chris, you are amazing. Thank you. And we will be in touch.
And if I am impressed with the bid, see, I've done this before and it actually backfired. If I am impressed with the bid, I'll match it.
Wow.
But if it's some penny ante bid, then whoever wins is going to have a tough meeting with me when we get together, and you're going to wind up donating more anyway.
Listen, I'm sending you a huge virtual hug right now. And usually these things go for about 25,000.
Oh, at least.
Okay, that's good. All right, excellent.
I don't even take my shirt off for that. Show you my new tattoo.
I love it.
That's worth at least 75 grand.
I'd say 100. I'd say 100. All right, my friend. Well, listen, stay safe. It's great to see you. And we will look forward to duking it out for this item.
Absolutely. I'm happy to be a part of it. It's beautiful that you're thinking of others as you always have. You are a true healer and a friend. And everybody out there, thank you for even paying attention to what's going on right now. It is beautiful that you've even made the decision to care about somebody outside your own circle. Boy, we need that more than ever.
I'm with you on that. And the same to you. You're doing great things in the world as well. So thank you. Stay safe, buddy.
Thank you. You too.
All right. Take care, Chris.
75 grand. I'd like to see Chris rewriting a check for that. Let's make that happen, okay? I think that's a really cool idea. You get to hang out with Chris. Actually, being in control room, having been a broadcaster for most of my life, I can tell you that's where the real stuff happens. You'll get a real kick out of watching that. And if not, you'll have lunch on Chris. And I bet he'll spend more than an hour with you. I know him. Now, let's introduce our next honoree. And Sandy is going to talk about the wonderful Penina. Sandy, her stuff looks so amazing, and what a terrific human being she is.
Oh my gosh, she is just incredible. Musubaho Penina is 37 years old, and she, best describes herself in her own words. But she was diagnosed a few years ago and didn't have anywhere to go, has 7 children, and she just needed someone to help her through her early diagnosis. And she came to the Marjorie's Fund Diabetes Center, Education Center, and got the care she needed, and then became a peer leader and educator. She started working on the Hands Project. She's so gifted with everything she does. She makes these sculptures depicting what people with type 1 diabetes need to go through. She uses the wood from the local area. It is our honor actually to honor her today. And I'm just going to let her speak about her, what Marjorie's Fund means to her, and why she makes these sculptures. Again, we've been to her house with this, nothing more than a structure. And still, she always has this smile on her face. I've never seen her without a smile, And so, really, every penny that we bid on one of her statues, that any time that, you purchase a statue of hers, that money is going directly back to her and the community.
Ngaute myaka asatu na musanje ngauti abana musanje erihambwa oburere busigari munatsukerikwa omutsutsa munene n'amarwara amawulu namalwala omutwe namakwa nameso lero mubantwala omuhosi eyekirembe bamanyihamba esukali eyekaipuwani bamatsuka erimijanjalo lero munabanu munywani amandeta okwa senta eya Marjorie Fund neryo bamatsuka erimitambere mubakathuha omubatsi owabusa tukasomesebawa busa tukathungesya strip busa nobuma busa kandi bamatusomesya etiktok eriyikolera ebindu byebyalo nayo namatsuka erikolha ebindu ebikasomesaya okwa sukali abandu ngokubatholere erithobola omubatsi nahi batholere erithobola omubatsi ngasima uti mubatusomesya erikolera ebyala namabireta bamabiwulya neryo nesaheno nabirikola ebindu ngasaba eritasalonderya akathali nakathoka erisomesya abana bayi kandi neriwathikya abandi balwere besukali mwasinja erithuha omubatsi owerithuwathikya ngasima mwasinja kutsibu.
You're absolutely right, Sandy, about that smile. That just is so brimming full of life. What a wonderful human being. Speaking of wonderful human beings, I now want to introduce our next honoree, actor Victor Garber. Now, you may recognize him from Titanic or Argo, which happens to be one of my very favorite movies of all time. I just loved him in that movie. Lots of other plays on Broadway, many other movies, etc. I've interviewed him a few times, and I'm telling you, he's one of the most gracious, genuine, authentic people you have ever met. He was diagnosed, born in London, he was diagnosed with type 1 diabetes when he was 12 years old. So imagine that he's lived with it throughout this stupendous career. You know, the long hours one can be on a set and through all of that, and yet he has made a remarkable difference in his life by what he's done. The thing that he also does today is he continues to really help kids who have type 1 diabetes be able to live their lives fully. He does videos, educational videos about that. He is part of a leadership council of Beyond Type 1 since 2015. I mean, he just could not be more generous with his time and his ability to help others. So Jason got a chance to talk with him a little while ago. He's now up in Vancouver. I believe he's able to start shooting movies again. So Jason, Victor, take it away.
Greetings, everybody. My name is Jason Baker. I'm one of the co-founders and the medical director of Marjorie's Fund. I am so excited to introduce one of our honorees, Victor Garber. Victor is a fellow Type 1, just like me. He is a award-winning actor and also a ardent supporter of the Type 1 community, and we are so honored, Victor, to have you with us today and to be honoring you at our annual gala. So thank you so much for joining.
Thank you so much, Jason. I'm humbled to be here, and you know, when I was approached about being honored, I thought, oh please, I'm so not worthy of being honored. But I'm really glad to be a part of this, and I hope that we can draw as much attention to this organization as possible.
Well, thank you, and we certainly wish we could have you in person, but we know that you're busy filming across the continent here, and we wish you safe travels and safety. But again, yeah, it's a crazy time that we are living in, and we're again, it's crazy enough to live with type 1 diabetes. And one of the things that I wanted to ask you is, what was it like when you were first diagnosed? I think you were 13 years old, right, when you first were diagnosed with type 1?
I was actually, I was trying to remember. I'm so bad with time and dates, and it's embarrassing. But I think I was 12, and I think it was I was in sort of mid 12, and it was devastating. We didn't, you know, it was long before all of the things we have now, obviously. But you know, it was I remember my mom's face as my father drove me to the doctor the night she had to work. She was doing commentating a fashion show, and my father took me, and the look on her face is what resonates with me almost more than any of my own feelings, because I saw this kind of hope. Her name is Hope. Was Hope, and she was just lost. She was just and somehow, I remember thinking, whatever this is, I knew I had a distant cousin who was a type 1 diabetic, and I watched her take shots, and was sort of curious about it. But something in me knew that I was going to be okay. It was going to be different, and life was going to be different. But I've always had a kind of a belief that things will work out, and I'm very, very fortunate that I have that feeling, because it gets pretty scary sometimes.
It really does, and to have that support system behind you. I mean, I remember the same when I was diagnosed. I mean, not having that, it's a life-altering thing to be diagnosed with type 1, and you were, I think, old enough to be aware of life before and after, And
well, yes, the thing about what really gets me now is, when I'm at children's conferences and I meet all these young kids who have been diagnosed at 4 and 6 months, or and I meet the parents. That's when I get I just get crazy that we have not come further. We're not at a point where there's much more progress, and that's why we need funding, and that's why we need constant support, because these mothers, these fathers, and I'm including the fathers too, but the mothers are at home, most of these mothers with their child during this period, and they have to be, because it's constant. And certainly the new devices, I mean, Dexcom device and the Omnipod, these are the 2 devices I use, have changed everything. And I know parents are now sleeping better at night, knowing that the alarm will go off. But when I was a kid, none of that was available. And we were still doing urine tests and with Clinitest tablets and in test tubes. I mean, it's like doing a science experiment. And by the way, and it was meaningless, because the blood sugar had nothing to do with where you were at the time tested, because it was, so all of that has changed dramatically, and I'm just fortunate that I'm still here to be able to take advantage of it, frankly.
Yeah, it really speaks to hope and to your support structure around that time, and also your fortitude with all the challenges and with the limited types of equipment that we had in that era to deal with type 1. When you juxtapose it next to today, if you are in a resource-rich region and have access to the insulin pumps and the sensors and the newest insulins, I mean, we can really live and thrive. But when you think about the folks who don't have that, it's kind of amazing how they're actually able to survive at all. Have you, Victor, ever been in a situation where you actually didn't feel you had enough supplies, or perhaps been in a situation where you had departed and realized you had forgotten some of your supplies?
I am blessed I was born in London, Ontario, where insulin was discovered.
Yes.
And Dr. Frederick Banting discovered insulin, and I went to the Banting Museum in London and sat on the bed where he had the dream about it, and woke up, and I don't know how apocryphal that is, but it's a pretty moving place to be. So I've always had access to insulin, and when I went to Congress a year ago to testify for juvenile diabetes, that's one of the reasons I went, was because I could not believe that people were not able to get insulin easily and at a reasonable cost. It's just because I've always been covered by my insurance. I've got a great insurance company. I've always been blessed to have all of these things, and I do not take any of it for granted. So when I hear or see or meet people who are going through not being able to have access to what they need, it just makes me insane.
Yes.
So No, I mean, I've had, you know, weird things where now I actually take insulin to work with me every day because it's an hour drive to get there. And if the Omnipod suddenly malfunctions, and it does occasionally, sorry, but it does, it'll suddenly just make this horrifying beep. And the first time it happened, I was actually shooting a movie in Turkey, and I had no idea what the sound was because it had never happened. And the sound guy said, "What is that noise?" I said, and then we kept looking around, and then I realized it was me. that was a bad moment. So I had to rip it off and kind of throw it because they're not almost impossible.
It won't shut up.
To do it, but why is it so difficult? Why?
Yeah.
So I threw it away, and then I had to, you know, when the scene was over, I had to get home to the hotel and change. But now I take everything with me, because I have a trailer where I have a fridge. I put the insulin in the fridge. I have extra Omnipods. I'm all set. And I realize I feel better. And if I forget, I'm always a little bit nervous. So
yeah. And you know, it's interesting that you kind of tell this story because I mean, I too have never been without supplies. There have been times that I've left the house and left my kit, you know, just silly mistakes that we all as type 1s do. Nobody's perfect. You know, I'm an endocrinologist. I make mistakes. Everybody makes mistakes. But it's really a beautiful thing that you share your celebrity and your voice really to help other people who don't have the type of access that you have. I mean, a lot of folks just don't even think of other people. They're just focused on their own self-care. So again, you say you're not worthy of being honored, my friend, but you know, this is a reason why you are a real force in the community for good and for change. So again, we thank you for that.
You know, I living through this pandemic, which we are still going through, obviously. Every time I see what's going on in the world and with people who are not as fortunate, I am always stunned by what people are dealing with and how, you know, how I wish I could be of more service. I mean, you can give money, you can be, you know, and you can get, you know, you can carry flags and banners and walk and protest and everything, but even then you're taking your life in your hands in America. But I'm in Canada right now, which is a very different country, and it's much. I mean, I look around me and I think, boy, we're screwing up down there. We're screwing up badly. Yeah. And part of it is, you know, and so all I'm saying is that if people aren't moved by what's going on and how people are struggling and to getting by, then really, you know, I just don't understand. I don't understand a lack of empathy. I really don't. I just don't understand how you can be a human being and not feel empathy for some other people.
I'm with you on that. It's like it's kind of a defining feature as to what makes us human, right? And we live on this small sphere, and we have to help each other out. You know, there's no way around. There's no other way of doing this. And you know, you brought up the subject of COVID, Victor. How has COVID challenged you specifically with your type 1 diabetes? Have there been any particular instances that you've had to deal with in relationship to this pandemic around the subject of type 1?
Well, you know, I was very fortunate that I had everything I needed when I got back. I got back to New York March 17th, and went right to Sag Harbor, where Reiner, my partner, and I share. We have a rental house that we live in, and I was fortunate. I had everything I needed, and I was able to order things from, you know, to make sure they came to that address, and so it was more of an emotional ride that's still going on in terms of, you know, I think I did go into a kind of a depression that I wasn't aware of for a while. Yeah. I stopped going for walks because I didn't know where to nowhere to walk anymore.
Yeah.
I was just walking around the block, and that depressed me even more. And I think so. I really just had to really give myself I had to just talk to myself about, allowing myself to have these feelings, but also realizing what I had instead of what I didn't have.
Yeah.
And I think that's what if we don't learn that, to be more really honestly grateful for if you have food and a bed,
Yes.
and a roof,
Yes.
and your medication, that's it, really.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And, also, I think working with what we have, I mean, if, some of the folks, for example, that we help in Uganda and Rwanda with our programs, they may do with so little, and so, I mean,
Yeah,
what
it's humbling. It's really humbling.
Yeah, and I mean, what you're describing with COVID is interesting. I think it's a really universal challenge for us, for everybody, but exercise, being able to be, with other people, having a wide array of food choices that we know works for us. I mean, I think a lot of that has really been upended with COVID, and I appreciate your honesty with talking about your struggle, because I think a lot of folks have been going through that and are still going through that in relationship to this, just that feeling of depression and anxiety.
Yeah, I mean, Michelle Obama actually talked about it, and that's part of when I realized, yeah, that was what I was going through. And also, the thing about how we've all become these Zoom people, like what we're doing now, basically. It's really important, as annoying as it is, and the delays, and I'm sometimes losing some of your words, and you're probably losing some of mine. But the fact is, it's really important to reach out and to communicate, and especially to people who are alone, and certainly people who type 1 diabetics who are on their own, either older people or whoever it is. It's important to check in. It's important just to check in and talk and just say, how are you doing? What's going on? And not try to not give advice so much as just listen, because nobody really wants to be told what to do. They just want to be heard, I agree with that.
And to maintain that community that we all need, and speaking of community, Victor, do you have any advice for any newly diagnosed type 1s in terms of how they might be able to, learn how to thrive with type 1?
Well, all I can say is, there's a whole community. You're not alone, and it doesn't define you. That's not who you are. That's part of who you are. It is, and the more you learn about it, and the more you take responsibility for it, and that's key. Is to deny it is just foolhardy. And we all did at some point when we were, I did when I was younger, certainly. And you have to find your own way. But I'm here to say, if you have a dream of doing something that you think you can't do because you've been diagnosed with type 1, there's really nothing you can't do.
Yes.
Really nothing. And you may have to adapt, and you may have to adjust some of the things of your dream, but it's all possible. It never occurred to me that I couldn't continue doing what I was doing. Never occurred to me. I left home at 16. My parents were terrified. I was somehow determined, and also I don't know why, but I just wasn't afraid to do it. I'm more fearful now than I was at that age. I'm more fearful walking out of the apartment than I was then. I just left home.
Yeah.
I've only been diagnosed for 3 years.
But again, what you speak about the fortitude that you have to have and the ownership over type 1. You know, that you can't check out of self-care. These are the words I'm hearing from you. You have to constantly be aware, and it's something that's constantly with us. But with the right community, we can beat this. You know, we can beat this. Much more to be done, though.
Yes.
I thank you so much, Victor, for taking time to be with us. We are so just excited to have you as an honoree this year. And I actually wanted, and I would love to have given this to you in person, but we will be sending it back to you in New York when you come back. This is a statue from our other honoree, Penina, who is Ugandan. It's hand-carved wood from Uganda, and it's depicting an insulin injection. She is an amazing type 1 artist who is an inspiration and a peer educator, and one of our beneficiaries in Uganda. So this will be waiting for you at your house when you get back. But again,
so beautiful. Wow.
It is
so much better than a vase.
Well, it's beautiful, as are you. And we appreciate you. We appreciate your time, and congratulations.
I look forward to being with you in person next time. Thank you.
Absolutely. And stay safe, my friend.
You too. Thanks.
Take care.
Absolutely. That was absolutely beautiful. And what an impressive man. And just the fact that he talked about how he did not let his type 1 diabetes get in the way of his dreams, and that he can continue to pursue them and continue to live the kind of life that he wanted to live. It was just amazing. And I think that's true for anybody that's diagnosed with any kind of a chronic disease that they will have to live with for their lifetime, or even anybody. I'm looking at some comments right now. Samantha Baker, who is of course one of the co-hosts of this event, hearing all these stories, so inspiring. It certainly is, and I hope that it's inspired you to help maybe raise a little money so we can do some good and make sure that everybody can pursue their dreams, just like Victor Garber got a chance to do, and Penina is doing. Beth Robin Askins right there again, so inspiring. I love the fact that people are able to chat with us. That's one of the great things about doing this all virtually, is you can hear people's voices through the chat that's coming in. So please feel free to join. Robin, again, what an amazing talk with Victor Garber. Simply wonderful. And it was. And I think now I'm actually going to get both Sandy and Jason back up with me, because it's time for us. There's Sandy, there's Jason. It's time for us to do a little, what we call paddle raising, because, I mean, look, that was really cool. I wish we could be in with Victor.
He's so
I
humble,
so admire
he's the
him.
most humble guy you could ever meet. And, I mean, I meant every word when I said it. I mean, the guy gives, and believe me, we appreciate him taking part, and we're honored to honor him. And I also want to share, I'm having a little bit of a Brady Bunch moment. I kind of want to look up at you guys and have you look down at me, kind of have that, like,
I'm looking down at you now.
yeah, like I can hear that sound in the background or something like that. I've been thinking about that during part of the
story.
Exactly.
There we go. But anyway, this is fun. So I love the story that Victor talked about. I mean, I'm sure it was awful in the moment, but where the pump went off.
Yes.
They're in production, and the sound guy's going, "What's that noise?" Because trust me, there have been many a time when I've been in a studio and there's been some kind of sound. Usually it's my bracelets jangling. It's nothing quite so serious. It's an insulin pump. So to hear him say that, I just was going, "Oh my God." And yet, what did you do?
Jane, I thought it was more of the lip gloss in your pocket. The jangling.
You mean this right here?
Yes, there you are.
I was sharing that. I'm known for my lip gloss in the studio earlier, and I leave trails of them behind. So
this is something in common. I have my lipstick here too.
Yay!
Mine is nude coloring.
There you go.
I don't want to have too much.
Working for you, Jason. Yeah. I like it. We should try to raise a little bit of money here, because I know we've got a paddle, and I know we've already got some funds that have come in. Some very generous souls have already raised some. Look at that, $24,510, and the goal is 50,000. Look at those names that were all there on the side. Look who's at the top of it. Hello, Jason.
That.
I know you.
I had to test out the system.
Well, that's good. Well, we love it. So why don't we talk a little bit about what kinds of the increments will do? Because I started this off by saying, what is it, $20 a month? $20 will give somebody, will give a diabetes 1 sufferer enough syringes and enough insulin for a month. $20.
Just crazy, right?
$20, right?
So yeah, I mean, it's interesting. There, let's start out. If for $1,000, okay, for you can provide for an entire year to a person living with type 1 diabetes in Uganda, food, as Sandy described. You can provide insulin, syringes, medical care, and transportation. For $1,000, you can care and help care for a person living with type 1 diabetes.
Isn't that amazing?
Yeah.
I think somebody might have just given a little $1,000, huh?
Yeah, actually, I'm seeing some names come in, and Jackie Murray, thank you so much. You are amazing. We're blowing kisses to you. So you are going to be changing the life of somebody today. So thank you, Jackie, very, very much. And
it's going to be so much fun if you could actually meet that person, wouldn't it?
yes, well, we will make it happen. And hey, another name just came in, Howard Goldman.
Wow.
Yep.
Howard
Goldman gave $1,000. I tell you what, Jane, these people are so friggin' generous. I don't know, in this time, in this era, when everybody is so stretched and stressed, isn't this a beautiful thing?
Oh,
that people are like giving back.
Makes your heart so happy.
Yeah,
it really does. I would love to see a couple more $1,000 donations coming in right now. In the room, when we'd be in the room, we'd be pointing out and be like, hey, over there in that corner. Oh, wait, over there.
Yeah. Totally.
There's Samantha coming up. I donated and I'm bidding on auction items. And I see Sam's name up there, right?
Yep. Samantha, thank you, Samantha, and thank you so much for helping to co-chair this event.
Can Michael Gordon just donated?
What?
Seems like Michael Gordon just donated as well.
Michael, thank you.
Wow. There's another little trick to this, right? Because to donate, you go to the cbo.io/d/Marjorie's, or you text the word Marjorie's to 56651. But isn't it true that you can actually scan with your phone? If you take a smartphone, you can scan this on the screen right now.
Absolutely.
Right?
We try to make it as easy as possible to get your money. That's all I can say. But you know what? We want to make it easy for you to help other people. And again, after this event, by the way, if you guys couldn't figure out the technical side, we're going to be happy to continue to accept donations and bids. And Jane, as we had mentioned earlier, these particular bids are all going toward the reopening of our education center and medical clinic in Uganda. So all of these dollars come at a critical time for us. So thank you, everybody.
Oh yeah, everybody needs to give. So we talked about $1,000. I think we should have one more. I think it should be at 26 now because we got $2,000 and it was at 24 when we started already.
It should be at least close to 27. There's a bit of a lag with that coming in, but the donations they've come in, so the thermometer will go up.
We all like low temperatures in this day and age, but we want our temperature to go up here.
Exactly. Couldn't agree more. So we were just talking about $1,000 bids. What happens for somebody who would give $750?
Well, with $750 for the next 3 months till the end of the year, we can sponsor a nurse, actually 2 nurses, to come out to the clinic from a nearby hospital in Kaganjo, and they can come out for both days that we need to open the clinic now. So that's the cost of bringing them in. And by the way, I have some more names coming in. Elizabeth Snoffer, Jack Kula Harris. I apologize for not pronouncing that correctly if I didn't. And then Don and Lynn Francis have donated as well.
I think that the two Michaels there are new to the list too. Michael Gordon and Michael Van Ziers. I think they came in the last little bit. Oh, and there's some coming in through Facebook directly.
Yeah. Yes.
Thank you, Zoe.
The 2,000 went because it's streaming on Facebook. So this thermometer has gone up. Thank you all so much.
Oh,
and Michael Morrison as well, I believe. So thank you, Michael.
And then so we've done, so now that $750, again, I want to go over that. It says 3 months, right? $750 will give enough transportation for a nurse 2 days a week, 12 visits total. I mean,
well, basically, Jane, it keeps the clinic open. You can help to pay for running our medical clinic, our twice weekly medical clinic. So, this is for the entire 3 month period of time. For $750, you can be responsible for keeping our medical clinic up and running, which we need desperately right now. The people need it.
And we've got Penny Grant and Stephen Weber, both two new people added to that list over there. That's amazing, $750.
And thank you, Don and Lynn Francis. It sounds like both Don and Lynn separately donated. So yay.
I like this. I like that kind of.
I'd like to know which one of them gave more.
Yeah, that's it.
You're trying to cause discord in the marriage, huh? The relationship, I see.
Well, I'm maybe thinking that the other one's going to step up to the plate and say, I don't want to be a wimp around my.
I like it.
Our lovely board member, Sarah Francis' parents.
That's great. And then Ilya, I hope I'm saying the name right, Slavuitsky? Yeah. So, okay, so that's what $750 does. If we go down to say $500, what would that pay for?
That will actually pay for food for 10 people for a full month.
What?
Yes. And that's all it takes. Actually, 20 people for a full month.
Yeah, I was going to say 20. For an entire month. Then as Sandy had mentioned, that's something that's so important and vital. Something that we haven't traditionally done, but this COVID we've had to adapt what we've done in order to meet the needs of our folks. Margie, thank you. Thank you for your $1,000 donation. Amazing. Margie Goldsmith.
And Jackie's has just come through, it seems like. So, like we said, there's a little bit of a lag. So Jacqueline had told us she was going to do that, $1,000.
Jason,
I see there's somebody named Jim Augustine that just donated $750.
That's right. So you did donate it, and so thank you, Jim, for keeping our clinic open. We love you.
I'm telling you, that's amazing. Well, I'm just really so impressed. So let's go down to maybe 250. What would that do for? What would that do?
So for $250, one of the things we've obviously had to do is to provide personal protective equipment and hand washing stations and hand sanitizer to make sure that our clinic is run safely. So for $250, you can provide PPE for our medical clinic for an entire month.
Wow.
And I see somebody by the name of Sandy just came through. I'm not sure who that is.
I made a second donation via check, so now we've got to,
Well, you're a multitasker because I can't do two things like that at once. I'm too busy talking here and trying to coordinate.
And I got to admit, I get upset because every time I'm talking, I get a text that I'm being outbid for all my items.
Are you kidding?
Yes.
Wait,
but you know what?
What's the Chris Cuomo thing up to? Is that what you're talking about?
Well, that's up to a couple $1,000s. Remember, Chris, you're matching that. But
let's make Chris spend some money.
Let's make him do it. But the good news is, though, for me, is that the auction is open a full week beyond this event, so I can look through. So anybody who's been outbidding me, you're gonna have to watch out.
I love that. So the auction is open till we should remind people it's open until the 21st of September. Is that correct?
Right. So it's open a full week beyond the close of the event. So it'll be closing on the 21st of September. Exactly.
Okay, so people can still come to the texting. So where do they go? The cbo.io/d/Marjorie's, right?
That's right. That's where they'll have a list of all the silent auction items. And if they haven't already signed up for ClickBid, because you have to create that account, which is really, really, really simple, even for a non-technophile like myself, I actually did it. And Sandy has seen how little techie I actually am. Laughing at me constantly, I'm like, hieroglyphics. But so they can easily do that, and they'll be able to do that all up until the 21st.
Fantastic. So we've talked about $250 for $100 a month. What is that? That's providing.
We have to provide insulin for 10 people for 1 full month, just for $100.
Yep.
Wow.
And when you think about the insulin prices, I mean, I gotta say, we've negotiated with our partners on the ground.
Right.
For example, in Uganda, we get insulin there. We also work with wonderful international partners, other NGOs such as Insulin for Life and Life for a Child. But this is specifically to purchase insulin on the ground. And I know that we have a couple more donations coming in. Oh, I see that Don Baker has donated $100. Wow. Thank you, Don. Happens to be my dad.
Aww, that's so sweet. And I just think this is it's just so amazing to me. Look at Margie Goldsmith's comment here. Trust me, this cause is so worth it. She is a heck of a great supporter, is she not?
She is. She's got a great mugshot too.
Yeah. I kind of liked when you and Chris were trying to decide which one was the more handsome. So.
Oh, it's definitely him. Why do you think I took so far from the camera?
I don't believe you, but nice try. Okay, and then so we talked about $100, but literally, I mean, $20, anything helps, and that's the beauty of this, is that any small amount of money will make a very big difference in the life of one of these type 1 diabetes patients.
Oh, thank you, Barry.
All over the world. So Barry, there's Barry Liebman. Thank you.
Thank you, Barry. Bob, you just helped somebody get insulin for an entire month, my friend. Thank you.
Wow.
And Jane, we really try to keep costs low at this organization. We're very much a voluntary board. We have very little overhead. We really try to make any sort of proceeds from an event like this go directly back to the people. So everybody who's been donating, we are again very thankful, and the money will go to very good use.
And speaking of, especially if you bid on those backpacks and those statues made by Penina, that money is going directly back to the people who made it. So the backpacks will go to those folks who made them, and of course with the Penina statue. And we do actually, even with the level of need that each of these individuals has, they want to contribute back to the community, believe it or not, because Penina statues, if they go for $100, 75 goes to her. She's still giving 25 back to the Diabetes Consultation Association for the community pot. So, there's such a feeling of community amongst these people in terms of what they do for each other. With very little, they still share and help.
And by the way, what you all do for them as well. I just want to mention one comment that just came in. Actually, two. One, your dad, Jason, is adorable. And second, Jason is the more handsome.
That's Brooke.
I don't know who these people are. You're a good liar.
Well, I think you do. And
look at 32,000. I know we're going over, but I just have to say, that was amazing. Thank you, everybody.
Well, and I know that we're not caught up on the numbers, so
there's donations on Facebook and other places too. So there's multiple ways to donate. We can even go on your website and donate, but we'll update the thermometer.
Update the thermometer. Sometimes temperatures don't rise as quickly as they really are rising. So
Yeah.
there.
And like I said, I want a fever, man. I want like a 103.
Right.
I guarantee you that you guys have done such an amazing job today that number is going to climb way up over the top, and we're going to get exactly what we need to be able to help and to be able to do all those wonderful things for this global effort to help combat type 1 diabetes and keep people going. So I'm so grateful for this.
And thank you, Jane, so much for helping us to do just that. And I wanted to also thank our wonderful board committees, our host committee, our event chair, Samantha Shanken-Baker, all of our beneficiaries, all of our partners. So thank you for helping to make this possible.
And our communications director, who's done a yeoman's job in putting this together.
Absolutely.
Put
up with me.
And I just got to say, for a virtual event, this has been kind of fun.
I think so. We didn't even have any booze. I mean, we can't see what you're doing when you're off camera, Jane. But like, I mean, and Sandy's always got a flask on her hip. But like beyond,
Yeah, you know, we always rely on Everybody talks about how charming and handsome he is. You got to spend time with him to know the real him.
Oh, Margie, thank you. That's so sweet of you.
Yes, thank you so much.
I love it. It's been this has been a wonderful experience. I think we all came into it today going, how's this going to work? Are people going to be invested in it? How many people are going to tune in? Is it going to be successful? I think, because it's never happened before like this.
Yeah.
And it's always been so great in the past and always raised what you wanted it to raise and kept Marjorie's fund going and the work going. And I have a feeling that this has been truly successful too. And so hopefully next year we'll all be in the same place.
In person.
Fingers.
But if we have to keep doing this virtual event, we'll have to have you auction off coaching for us to be on camera.
I don't think you need it, Sandy. I think you did a great job, babe. But maybe we can have make it a virtual party and have a really good time doing it. So thank you guys. Thank everybody. Remember, September 21st is the closing date for the auction items, and you can continue to donate. Well, you can donate forever if you want to, right? Because you can always go
anytime.
Yeah, you can always go to the Marjorie's Fund page as well. So, but thank you everybody for joining us. Thank you for participating. Thank you for doing what you can for everybody here and for all those people whose voice isn't heard today. But trust me, you are helping them live a much longer and a much more fulfilling life in being able to, as Victor put it earlier, to be able to realize their dreams. So we thank you for joining us. We wish you Godspeed for the rest of this evening. And hopefully we will see you in person live next year. Good night, everybody.
Thank you so much. Thank you, everyone.
Everybody wave. Bye.
Bye. Thank you. Mwah.
Mwah.